With our political analyst, Brian Sobel. Brian, first up, is averting a shutdown. Do you think an agreement can be reached?
Typically, Heather, an agreement is reached, but fundamentally there are some key issues at stake here. Raising the debt ceiling to nearly $29 trillion is a big deal. And suspending the limit, which might take the spending cap out to $45 trillion by 2035 is problematic. It's problematic within the Democrats in Congress, but certainly with the Republicans as well. And I'd add that number really is staggering. It approximates up to $300 or more thousand dollars per taxpayer, just to give you some perspective.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the political maneuvering that's happening right now. I mentioned that Republicans want Democrats to put the debt limit into their budget plan. Explain why they're using that tactic.
Everything is about putting casting for lack of a better word, the blame for what's going on here on the Democrats' plate. That is typical in Washington, D.C. The minority attempts to get the majority to take ownership of the debt and the budget. And right now, the Democrats are struggling mightily within their own caucus between moderates and progressives around both the debt ceiling, but also the current $3.1 trillion package that's on the table that many people feel will be very useful in dealing with the COVID crisis and infrastructure, even including with the recent hurricane and other things. And Heather, the president has been unsuccessful so far in finding any compromises among those two powerful factions within the Democratic caucus. That has to be solved right away. And the Republicans are sitting on the sidelines saying, come to us when you have your situation worked out, and then we'll decide whether we want to vote on these important topics.
Yeah, as you mentioned, President Biden actually getting personally involved today to try to bridge the divide between moderate and progressive Democrats. I mean, these divisions, Brian, really threaten his entire domestic agenda.
Well, and one more thing, Heather. If he can't personally put this thing over the goal line, to use a football analogy, then he runs the risk of government shutdown, and he runs the risk of continuing debate over the national debt, which is enormous. And then, of course, if this plays out through the end of the year and beyond, now we're into 2022 and the midterm elections come, and the American public is already unhappy with the president. We know that from polling, and not so happy with the Congress. So we could see changes, significant changes in the House of Representatives, as an example, Heather, and that will be catastrophic for the Democratic agenda.
Brian, we just have a few seconds left here. Do you think that President Biden was expecting this deep of a division between moderates and progressives?
No, and it's historic for a president not to really be working very hard on this. And I assume Joe Biden is, but we're not seeing that he's gaining a lot of traction right now. Presidents through history have twisted arms, called in favors, done whatever they need to do to get the votes that they need. And right now, this thing, Heather, is totally stalled.
Yeah, we'll see if the president is able to do some more arm twisting. Brian Sobel, always a pleasure. Thanks so much and have a good night.
You're very welcome. Have a good night, Heather.
Thank you.